Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. It's been a minute. First of all, I want to apologize for the fact that I haven't done one of these shows for a long time. To my great chagrin, my father got ill last March, and I moved it back in with him in France until July. And the good news is he's now perfectly healed. So it was a good and worthy time investment, and it was great. But I didn't have any of my streaming apparatus, and I had to put this on hold. But I'm very happy and excited to be back. And I'm also very happy and excited that we're restarting with a series essentially on the Indian ecosystem. I have a long and close connection in India. I was obviously a co-founder of OLX, which is which is the largest classified site in India, and it's part of like the fabric of society. My very best friend, or one of my best friends, is from India, and we met at McKinsey, and he's still running and helping the government and the country there improve and modernize its infrastructure. And so, starting today with Niraj, the founder of Spinny, who's the 76th unicorn in India. It may come as a surprise to many of you, but how robust the tech ecosystem there is. And so I look forward to having this conversation. And the next episode is going to be about the Indian tech ecosystem writ large, and the one after that is going to be about fintech in India. So with any further ado, let's get started. Okay, Niraj, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Fabrice. Thanks for having me over. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, no. So I'm very excited to have you. I mean, partly because of my history with BP and the CARM models, and we've spent a lot of time, and obviously we're investors in Spinny. Probably worth mentioning before this call as a caveat. But yeah, I'd love to hear your background and what led to this idea.
Yeah. So, as a founder, Spinny is my third startup. I did my bachelor's from IIT Delhi, if you have heard about IITs. So, immediately after my bachelor's, I started my first company. Somehow, in the final year of the college, I realized that if you want to harness your full potential, full energy, then entrepreneurship is the way. And the kind of roller coaster ride you get on the entrepreneurship journey, the kind of learnings you get, and the kind of outcomes you can create, right? So somehow I sensed that very early, and immediately after the college, I started my first company that was into education, very early days of edtech. Operated that company for close to 4.5
And
years.
when was that, more or
Then
less?
we started in
Okay.
2007.
Eh,
Yeah, so operated the company for a little more than 4 years, then moved on from there. So basically, idea was to create a open education online platform, and we realized that that was very, very much ahead of time. In spite of our best possible efforts, that was not going in any direction. So we decided to move on. After that, started my second company that was into web media. So around 2012, we were realizing that more and more people were coming on web in India, had started consuming a lot of content. But till that time, India specific high quality content was not there on web. Most of the content was Western content. So I thought that there should be a dedicated content platform for every category. So be that food advisory, health advisory, travel, education, or sports, teenage humor, political editorials. So with that kind of thought process, started the second company as a web media company. The start was really good. All platforms were shaping up nicely, and we were monetizing through advertisements. All the traffic was organic Google search traffic. But then we did some major strategic mistakes in that company, and because of that, there was a lot of mess. So moved on from that company also. So after moving on from my second startup, so basically the 9-10 months phase of my life just before starting a Spinny. So during that phase, I was not giving up on the entrepreneurship, right? Of course, very desperate times, very difficult days, having failed back to back into startups. but still I was not giving up on the entrepreneurship. But one thing was very clear, that whatever I do next, I'll do from a long term perspective. Can't keep doing flip flops again and again, so has to be a long term thing, not a predefined time bound project. So maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years, maybe rest of life. So I was clear that whatever I build next, I'll build with that kind of orientation, that kind of mindset. And if you want to build something for long term, then you and and the kind of orientation you need for that, you cannot start in haste. So I told myself that it's okay to wait for some time, right? But I'll only start when I get very strong conviction and excitement for something where I can operate with that kind of long term engagement. And out of that engagement, whatever I build, I'll build for decades. So that was the kind of thought process I was having just before starting Spinny. So I was not in any kind of hurry. So in that free time, so basically, for 9, 10 months, I was not doing anything. In that free time, I also did angel investments quite actively. Whatever little money I had from exit of my first startup, I thought rather than going for MBA or investing in real estate or something like that, it's better to invest in startups. Even if I'm not able to recover or multiply my money, I'll get lot of learning. I'll be also be able to test my decision making skills regarding problem statements, business models, people, GTM, all those things. And I'll also be able to build some network which will be helpful while doing my next startup. That whole that whole stint was really very I would say amazing, and whatever learning expectations I had, I
So you
got
basically
much more
became
than
an
that.
angel after the second startup as a means of like keeping your fingers on the pulse of the market, understanding how how to evaluate different founders, and frankly to just generally get idea and be connected.
Exactly. Finally, I decided to start spinning because the something for long term. That was very clear that if you want to build something for long term, then you need to build a true sustainable organic brand. It has to be a brand play. And if you want to build a long term organic sustainable brand, then you need to solve something that is really very important for people.
And what year was that?
That was 2015.
2015. And had you seen what was going on in the US with like Carvana, Vroom, CarMax, and others, or it was a unique, specific solution for the Indian market?
It was unique. I was not following the US market really closely back then. So it was completely inward looking. So was basically I was thinking that I was able to relate that how car buying is still very aspirational and emotional in India, right? So it is a very still very important purchase for people, very aspirational, very emotional. It is when you are buying your first car, it is also certain kind of unlock in your basically life journey. So it was very clear that this is a very very important and a special purchase for people. And when you are buying your first car, you are relatively young and relatively early in your career ladder. So you have kind of limited budget, but the purchase is very aspirational. You want a product that matches your aspirations. So you start looking out for options in second-hand car market also. But the purchase remains very special. You have certain kind of expectations, and the kind of treatment you get in the market is exactly opposite. So this was very clear that if we go after this problem statement, this won't be just about the used car market or Indian automobile opportunity, but this will be also about solving for the aspirations of the new age young people, and the kind of problems they face in this category around quality, transparency, accountability, fairness. So this was very clear that this will be also about solving for trust and experience and aspirations of
So,
people.
so what is the experience that you ended up choosing to have? And because obviously everyone's aware of the lemons problem that you have in used cars in general, and
Yeah.
the issues you have also dealing when the transactions are not intermediated or there's no guaranteed. Of all the things you could have done, what did you choose to do exactly to make sure that people have the right
Right.
experience?
So yeah. So our initial model was very similar to what you were basically doing at BP. So it was a C2C managed marketplace. We thought that real, root cause of all the problems in the category is information asymmetry. So to solve for the mistrust problem, we have to eliminate the information asymmetry. So if we do, in-house through in-house experts, the complete verification of each and every car, and only those cars so who meet our quality standards get onboarded on our platform, and whatever findings we have during the inspection of those cars is published very transparently on the platform, and all the information dissemination is in a very easy consumable way for all the prospective buyers, and all the decision making and assistance related tools are properly integrated in the platform. So we are ensuring that we are eliminating the information asymmetry, number one, and number two, enabling the consumers to make fully informed decision making. At the same time, each and everything is being directly facilitated by us in our presence. We are doing complete hand holding of both the sellers and the buyers, so that will eliminate friction from the transaction process, and that should result in good experience also. And that was our idea, that we have to solve for trust and we have to create experiences. So we thought that that model should be able to do justice to that, and we started with that kind of approach initially.
And what? But I guess what were the learnings, and what did you expand to? Like, what is Spinny today?
Today, Spinny is a full stack retail platform. So with our first model, we realized that customers are looking for fully baked solutions, right? They are not satisfied by certification or any kind of assurance, right? They are basically looking for fully baked solutions, and they want the seller to take the complete accountability of the product. Given the importance of the purchase, they cannot afford anything to go wrong. And we realized that,
So by full stack, you mean,
yeah,
do you
please
buy the
go on.
cars? Do you have retail locations? Like what does that cover exactly?
Yes, so for sellers, the car is purchased immediately from the sellers. Then the car goes to, reconditioning centers, our company-owned reconditioning centers. We refurbish those cars, and once the cars are, fully ready and without any defects, and it is as good as a new car, then the car is onboarded on our platform, and the inventory is in our exclusive control. So we can make the entire engagement very seamless for prospective buyers. Idea is that there should be complete assurance or accountability regarding the quality. You should be able to make the entire process really seamless, right? So from the initial model, our takeaway was that without owning the entire value chain end to end, you cannot guarantee the quality, you cannot make the process seamless, and you cannot take accountability of what you are delivering to your customers.
So for the sellers, if I want to sell the car, do they drop them off at your inspection points? Do you send an inspector to their home to go in and look at the car and make an offer there? Like what's the user experience on the sell side? And obviously after that we'll cover the buy side.
Yeah, on the sell side, everything is a doorstep service. You go to our online platform, our app, or our mobile website, you submit some basic details of your car. On the basis of that, we will show you online quote. If you are comfortable with that online quote, then we will schedule physical inspection of your car at your doorstep. And after the physical inspection, we will offer you a final price. In some cases, you get the final price even without inspection online itself. So depends upon what cohort your car belongs to.
Yeah.
And after the inspection, or even without the inspection, if you accept the final price, we can make the payment then and there, collect the car same day. So what we are trying to do with the sellers is that process is as quick as it can be. At the same time, it is as convenient, right, as it can be. And through the beauty of our model, right, we are able to offer the most competitive prices also. One very important takeaway from our initial model was that, Fabrice, in India, Indian used car market structure is very different from what you see in US or European markets. So there is a huge demand supply gap, very limited supply, lot of demand. And because of that kind of demand supply gap, the sellers are always spoiled for choices, right? So you cannot build loyalty on the sell side. And again, uh, almost every car, right, is originally coming from individual
Yeah.
sellers. There are no large fleet operators or something like that kind of supply, options available here. So irrespective of channel, right, original source in almost every case is individual seller. So there is no way you can build loyalty with those individual sellers. For them, it is a one-time opportunistic selling activity. They are looking only for the best possible prices.
Is it
So
price
our
more than
takeaway was
experience?
that
Because your user
it is
experience is amazing,
price.
right? You go and pick it. You go to them. You inspect the car. You just pick it up. They have nothing to do.
So basically, experience is like icing on the cake, but the pricing has to be the,
Right.
most competitive.
It's interesting because 99% of marketplaces in the world, I would say, are demand constrained because sellers are financially motivated to be on the platform. And so it's actually interesting to be in a market where you're supply constrained, which I guess is why you have to buy the car. Because if you didn't, the people are not willing to
Exactly.
wait to get paid until it's sold. If it's so supply constrained,
Supply
they want the
constraints,
money now.
you cannot dictate the relationship. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Lot,
Okay.
lot.
Yeah, yeah, it's very unique, and it probably was even worse during COVID, and from that perspective, because it was hard to get new cars. Did you guys also see a explosion in used car prices in COVID?
Price explosion was not there, but demand explosion was definitely there. So because in COVID, people did realize that, we have been saying this since long, but people again, it was a reiteration kind of thing for most of the people that cars are not just about moving from point A to point B,
Yeah.
right? And also not about just fulfilling your aspirations. It is also about some kind of reliability, some kind of peace of mind for the whole family, and this lifelong lesson people were able to get during the COVID lockdowns. So and because of that, when things started unlocking, there was huge long term shift in the mindset towards the car ownership.
And so, what's the user experience on the buy side? Do you have like actual physical locations, or is it just I pick the car online, and because you offer enough trust and safety, and when I buy it, you just deliver it to me, or both?
So as a buyer, you have both the options.
Okay.
You go to our online platform. All cars are listed there with all possible details that are good enough to help you make up your mind. Once you have identified a car of your choice, then you have both the options. Either you can make the entire transaction online, and the car will get delivered to your doorstep, or you can book the car online, reserve it for yourself, and you can schedule a visit to our offline car locations.
Okay.
And then you will go there, you will physically cross check the car, you can take a small test ride, and then you can complete the transaction if you want to go ahead with it.
And how can you be? I mean, it sounds or it feels expensive from a you're buying cars, you're renovating or you're refurbishing them. You have physical locations, you have inventory. Are you in a position, despite that, to be price competitive from a price perspective and make unit economics work?
Yes, so currently, in India, we are top 15 cities of the country, and our original four cities. So basically, till December 20, we were operating only in four cities, and December 21 was, that number was eight, and in 2022, we have added seven cities so far. So currently, we are operating in top 15 cities of the country. So first cohort, the initial four cities, right, we started operating into.
Yeah.
Those cities are already profitable now, right? And the second cohort of next four cities is about to become profitable. So there is huge trust gap, and there is no public data repository like you can enter the VIN number, you can get the entire history of the car. Those kind of public repository are not available in India. So the trust problem is even higher, right, as compared to what you see in US or the European markets. So and because of that higher trust level, right, the opportunity to earn margin, right, is more
That makes sense.
exciting, right? The
And
Yeah.
what convinced you to have offline locations? Because if you offer a very good guarantee, could it not be enough that people buy it, you deliver, and if they're not happy, you just take it back or something like that. What made you say, okay, we also need these locations?
So, Fabulous, very early in our journey, we realized that this category, you cannot build this category in a sensible way by doing aggressive
Mm-hmm.
marketings or discounting, right? So, we believe that this is a reference plus a ref check category. By marketing, people will get to know about you, but just because of marketing or discounting, they will not buy a car from you. It's not just about getting the best possible deal. The whole family is going to travel in that car. It's also about safety and well-being of the family. So we realize that it is a reference plus ref check category, and we need to build a certain kind of proven track record where if there is a clear track record of delivering quality and taking accountability of what we are delivering, and we need to be closer, nearer to the people. So idea was that let's build that comfort, right, in the target audience. So hence we thought that having physical locations closer to the people will help us build that comfort, build that confidence, and we won't be very aggressive in chasing numbers in our early days. Let's deliver really good quality cars, and let's build a proven track record in terms of quality and the post sales accountability.
Oh,
And once that word of mouth
are,
starts compounding, then we can start chasing
are your
aggressively.
customers mostly first-time car buyers, or like what is the typical car that is being bought at, like more or less what's the price point?
So close to 55% buyers are first time buyers, and 45% are not the first time buyers. Even the first time buyers, so basically they are buying car for themselves for the first time, but they might be having car in their family already, right? So they're not first time drivers, they are first time
Yeah.
buyers.
Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. And what's the average price point, or what's the typical car that people are buying, just so we get a sense of scale? Because I think people don't necessarily also
Well,
appreciate the difference between the U.S. market and the Indian market from a car perspective.
the median age of cars on our platform is approximately 4 years, and average order value is close to 7,500 US
Okay,
dollars.
it's actually
Yeah. So
reasonably high. Yeah.
yeah, in our case, average order value is 7,500 USD. But for the market of all the used cars available for sale at any point of time in the Indian used car market, the average order value is like close to 4,500 USD.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. If you look in the U.S., Carvana and CarMax have a way higher average order value than the used car market writ large. Because if you go to the whatever Craigslist of the world, you have a lot of cars at like several thousand, two, three, $4,000. The So
Got it.
give us
Yeah.
a sense of scale. So you launched in 2015, and where are you today? And when did you become a unicorn?
Yeah. So for 4 years, we struggled very hard. So we started in mid 15, but we closed our Series A round of funding only in mid 19. We took 4 years to do our Series A round of funding. But in that phase, right, we were able to pilot various models. We started with the C2C managed
Yeah.
marketplace. Then before pivoting to full stack retail, we did a pilot of park and sell, and from that pilot we build confidence that we will be able to run the full-fledged full stack operations also. So and we were operating at a very humble scale, and we were basically perfecting our processes regarding inspection, reconditioning, building our CRM, and doing various kind of product integrations, our price modeling, demand predictions, all those things. So by early 19, those capabilities were very much in place. Of course, there is no end to that. We will keep doubling down there. So,
But why did
so
you
after
struggle
doing,
so much for the first 4 years to fundraise?
there were lots of players in the Indian used car market. We were, I think, 12th or 13th player to basically get into the market, and till end 19, right? We were like number
Yeah.
10 in the Indian used car market, and now in B2C retail we are number one. So most of the scale has come in last 2.5 to 3 years.
Okay.
So after our Series A, we started, adding more people to our leadership team. We started investing more in our products, and whatever capabilities we had built, we started adding more and more capacity, in various functions. And yeah,
Can you share,
so
like,
one.
I don't know if number of annual cars sold this year, or like the value of the cars sold in general, like, whatever's public that you're comfortable sharing?
Currently, we are selling close to 6,000 cars a month,
Okay.
and basically December 19 was like 500 cars a
Yeah.
month. Then December 20 was like close to 1,000 cars a month. December in and December 20 was 1,000 in spite of 4 5 months of lockdown. Then December 21 was like 3,000 cars a month, and this December we should be doing more than 7,500 or 8 a month.
Yeah. I mean, people can do the math, right? If it's 6,000 a month, times 12, we're talking 72,000 cars a year, times 7,500. Uh, yeah. It's reached real scale. So when did you become a unicorn? You did around, I think it was
So
Tiger was
we
the last
did
round, or
Yeah, so last December 21, we closed our Series E round at 1.75 billion valuation. So primary infusion in that round was 250 million at
no,
1.5 billion pre-money
can
valuation.
you,
And that round was led by Tiger and ADQ. And Tiger was an existing investor. Tiger had done our Series D also. That round was at six close to 700 million valuation.
well, congratulations. Also, good market timing. That's, I think, literally the top of the market in every respect.
Yeah.
So what's next for
Yeah.
you? Like, what's next for Spinny?
So we are having a really solid momentum on the demand side. We have built a lot of capacity in our reconditioning function, and till early 2020, we were not solving for direct supply funnel because we believe that there is no entry barrier on the supply side given the demand supply gap. So we were, just strengthening our demand side capabilities till late 19, early 20. So mid 20, we started solving for direct supply. So till early 20, direct supply was just 7 to 8% of the total supply. But now that number is 93, 94%. And in last 3 years, our supply scaling is like close to 50x. So we scaled our supply 50x over last 3 years. And in spite of that kind of scaling, we exactly flipped the mix on the basically channel side, right? So from 7%, the direct supply went to 93 to 94%. So the supply side momentum is also very much in control. So the going forward, and given that we have enough resources in terms of cash and the kind of people we have in our team, the kind of level we have achieved on the product side. So going forward, focus is not on external things, right? Going forward, we are just ensuring that we are not doing any self goals, and whatever we have been doing right over last 3 4 years, the things which are working for us, we just keep doubling down there, and we start solving for profitability also. It's not that it's a change of approach for us. We were already very wishful and thoughtful with respect to the cost structures and the and the CAC, right? So we were already on that trajectory, but the sensitivity is even higher now. So we believe that in next in next 6 to 7 months, right, we the entire company, right, so all markets, all verticals should become contribution margin profitable marketing, and after that we will need to recover just the corporate costs. So sometime in 24, we should be able to hit EBITDA profitability, right? And so that is the focus. We keep increasing our market share. Number one, number kind of customer experience we are able to deliver. We are able to keep doubling down there. We are able to keep strengthening those capabilities which are allowing us to deliver that kind of quality and experience. That we also solve for profitability on the earliest timeline.
So basically, more of the same at a larger scale. maybe adding a few more locations, getting to profitability, and continuing to scale in a profitable way. I think that makes a lot of sense. Especially in the current environment. I mean, have you been impacted by, the comps doing so badly? Like if you look at Carvana in the US or Kazoo, I think their stock prices are down 90%. Have you thought through whether or not that impacts you and what you should do about it other than going for profitability?
So, at least people in India do understand that the Indian used car market, in fact, the entire car market construct is very different from, even the capital market constructs are very different from the, US and other Western markets. So, given that there is huge demand supply gap, and there is a lot of if I give you one data point, like the personal passenger car penetration in India per capita is still less than 30, right? So a lot of demand in this society, number one. Number two, huge demand supply gap. So basically full stack models are not that risky, right? And and because of the huge demand supply gap, this asset quality is very liquid. So banks are very supportive in financing these assets, right? And and there is a very different kind of price stability in the Indian used car market. So most of the new car market is owned by 3 to 4 top OEMs, right? They control more than 90% of the Indian car market, and 4 5 mainstream models from each of those OEMs. So 15 to 16 models, and you have more than 90% of the car market. So there is a very high level of price stability in the new car market, and that translates to price stability in the used car market
That makes
also.
sense.
So and the market is growing very fast, right? So 15 to 16%, CAGR, that kind of growth the Indian used car market is seeing.
How many new cars are sold
So
every year in India, and how many used cars are sold every year in India? Just so I get a sense of scale.
yeah, so new car numbers are close to 3.5
Okay.
million a year, and the same number for used car is
Yeah.
4.5 million. And it is expected that in next 5 years, this number should get doubled.
Is that driven purely by GDP per capita? I mean, obviously, to your point, it's a very aspirational purchase, and as you become better off, and it becomes one of the things that you aspire to purchase.
Exactly. It is driven exactly by that.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
how's it? I used to be in India a month a year for over a decade, but I haven't been in a while. As the government infrastructure, like have the road infrastructure improved a lot, or people, or is the government making a lot of decisions to a make it easier to buy, and also b to support the infrastructure of car ownership, or not yet?
Yeah, so government, so basically, automobile contributes basically, handsome share to the Indian GDP, right?
Mm-hmm.
So government is basically, pushing for local ownership, local buying also, and they are pushing for exports also. So manufacture in India and then export to other countries. So a lot of basically, push and reforms to encourage the automobile sector in the country by the government. So I would say very high focus area for the government, and there is a lot of work going on the infrastructure side also. So in the last 10 12 years, a lot of infrastructure development, and still going at a very crazy pace, right? So when was the last time you visited India?
Um, Probably 2012, when right before I left OLX, basically. So it's been 10
Okay,
years.
so
Yeah,
you should
I
visit.
used to, and I used to come multiple times a year, every year. But and I actually think my very good friend Alok Shasagar. I think you met him recently from McKinsey. But I've been privileged that he's come to visit me in New York. I haven't been back in a while.
I met him recently, right?
Yeah.
So last week I met him. So we are trying to basically do a project together at Spinny.
That'd be great. I think I'm going to have him on the show to talk about like the Indian tech ecosystem writ large.
You should plan a trip to India soon, and you'll realize that in terms of
Yeah,
infrastructure, it's a completely different picture
yeah.
altogether.
And what's the electric vehicle story? Is there one already in India, or not yet?
People are very excited, and it's picking up. And Indian, some local Indian manufacturers. So if you have heard about Tata's, so they have come up with really good quality products, and few models on the EV side, and the traction, the initial traction, and the excitement is really high.
And have you remained an angel investor? Do you continue angel investing despite running Spinny,
No,
or you
so
put that on hold after
that
you prepared Spinny?
I stopped doing angel investments after starting up Spinny. So entire focus on Spinny. But for last 1 to 1.5 years, if someone from the close, friend circle is starting up, then
Yeah,
as a token of support, right, I won't mind, participating in
sure.
the earlier rounds, but not from a financial investment point of view.
And what's the venture and tech ecosystem like in India right now from your perspective? Is it like hotter than it's ever been before? Are you as excited, optimistic? I mean, just to get a sense of like, yeah, your perspective.
2021 and 2022 was like complete madness, right? So almost everybody was getting funding, but lots of correction happening this year. But I would say funding is not a constraint in the country anymore, right? So if you are able to come up with a solid idea, and if you are the right team to execute that idea, I think funding is the last thing you should be worrying about.
Okay.
Ecosystem is maturing, right? So now lots of mentors, lots of experts are there, right? So when I was doing my first startup, second startup, literally there was no ecosystem, but now the ecosystem is maturing very fast. So I would say that all the external support system is very much available now. It's only up now. It's completely up to your capabilities and determination and efforts.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It took a long time. The
Yeah,
it took way longer, I think, than many of us would have expected in terms of getting companies to like really have scale, real revenues, be worth billions of dollars. But now, I mean, and we're seeing it, and Spinny is one of
Flipkart
many
did a
examples.
Yeah, Flipkart did an excellent job in creating that
Yeah.
ecosystem, and Flipkart also worked as an excellent example for customer education. Customers basically saw the first-hand benefit of such kinds of services, and they started opening up for more and more services from various categories, and they started paying up for the services and some premium also.
All right, cool. The Yeah,
Good was
for
of
those of you who don't know, Flipkart is
better.
like Amazon of India.
Yeah,
And anything we didn't cover
Amazon is
that we should cover or discuss?
regarding Spinny. I think we covered most of the things. Yeah.
And are you playing? I mean, I'm sure you're plenty busy with Spinny, but are you taking a role in terms of thinking through? I don't know, local government policy to make sure that they're like doing the right thing when it comes to like, I don't know, car purchases, thinking through infrastructure policy, et cetera, or yeah, trying to get a sense of how thoughtful the government is in general, basically, and the role that entrepreneurs can
Uh,
have in making sure the policy is logical.
at the moment completely occupied with building a Spinny,
Yeah.
but yeah, I keep brainstorming with VC friends and fellow entrepreneurs, right? And through that, whatever changes we can drive, I try with that kind of approach. But most of the time, goes into Spinny only because we are at a
Yeah, of
very
course.
crucial juncture at the moment. We don't think that we have arrived yet. A lot of work yet to be done. So the entire focus is there only.
All right, so outside of Spinny, anything we should have discussed that we didn't discuss?
Not sure. Maybe we should plan a follow-up session for things outside of Spinny.
Perfect. Well, thank you for coming. This was really interesting, and I think the audience, I'm seeing all the comments, really liked it. In the U.S., people have this perspective that the US, that is US centric, and they don't realize how big other ecosystems have gotten with the democratization of tech creation, from the AWS to open source to low code, no code to venture becoming democratized. A, it costs less money than ever before, and B, to build things, and B, the local markets with GDP per capita increasing are now large enough to be very robust. So India is at the forefront. I think we're spending more and more time looking and investing in India right now and taking advantage of the visibility I had over time with OLX.
Right. So I feel that what we are doing at Spinny is extrapolation of what you did at OLX. So thanks to you. And, it was great joining you for this conversation. Really enjoyed it.
No, thank you.
Thanks for having.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Fabrice.